talk about Agenda 163 as an African. You're an African diplomat. If you look at Aspiration 1, and I want to read it, a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. Aspiration 2, integrated continent, politically united based on the ideals of Pan-Africanism. Agenda, we can go on and on and on. My question is, sir, my brother, from the lenses of UNHCR, is there hope for Africa?
There is hope. There is hope, but certain conditions must be met.
What are the conditions?
The conditions, like I told, good governance. Good governance is key.
How do we ensure this good? We've been talking about good governance for more than 30 years.
Yeah.
Is it attainable?
You would relate to this proverb that you cannot stop running when the one chasing you has not stopped.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So we have to continue. We don't have to lose hope. If we lose hope, then what is left? We don't have to lose hope.
Is it a mirage?
No, I am optimistic. I'm optimistic that, especially with the youth coming, that's why I am a strong advocate to invest in the youth now. If we invest properly, I think
why are you a strong advocate?
Yes, because that is the future.
Yes,
that's our future.
Yes,
and you know, if you don't use them properly, all that energy will be channeled elsewhere.
The devil will find job for them.
Exactly, will be channeled elsewhere. So it behoves on each and every one of us to ensure that the youth is properly engaged through education. It's education which has brought us together sitting here today.
Absolutely.
I mean, so I strongly advocate that we invest a lot in the youth. And they are the future, and they would ensure that we are able to reach our goals and our aspirations as enshrined. Otherwise, then we better, we cannot surrender. We cannot. There's no way we can surrender at all.
So if you were to outline within the spectrum, the standpoint of, from the standpoint of, let's say, good governance and all of that, what 3 things that you think African leaders need to do that can help us to not only silence the gun perpetually, but also to ensure that this Agenda 23 is achieved and the youth are involved?
I would talk about internal revenue.
Okay.
And fraud, corruption.
That's interesting.
Yes.
I'll bring your accounting out. Yes, tell us about it.
No, fraud and corruption. There is a lot of revenue generated internally. Where does it go? We hear every now and then people entrusted with the resources of their countries stashing millions of whatever currency abroad. And many seem to go unpunished. So it is becoming more and more a norm. This must be stamped out completely. We cannot always go with a cap in the hand begging at all when we have a lot of resources internally. If you can easily see when people are living above their means.
Absolutely.
You can see it. If you enter politics because you want to get rich, you are in the wrong place. But accountability is an issue.
So how do we get accountability down?
If we don't ensure that through our democratic structures,
yes,
unfortunately, it will be done otherwise.
But they are there on the paper.
On the paper.
Almost every constitution.
But discipline is key here. I tell you, when I joined the revolution then,
yes,
evacuating cocoa and things from the hinterlands, that was the aspiration. But what do we see?
So how do you link the current uniform on youth on them? Somebody made one of the viewers who watch our programs posted something, and he said that most of the public officials we have in Africa are people who are boys in the men structure who are struggling to acquire the things they couldn't get when they were young as boys because they were deprived of those things. What's your thought on that?
But it is greed. Fortunately, and I will not mention names here, there are some good examples in Africa.
Absolutely. There's no doubt.
Yes, there are some good examples. So it's not all lost. Good examples of accountability. I mean, that we see. We have to learn from those good examples, and then decry the bad examples, which is more and more becoming the norm. So I would talk a lot about internal revenue and judicious utilization of our resources.
And stamping out corruption.
Yes, stamping out corruption. I mean, without that, how can we always go begging for resources when we know the leakage that is happening right in front of us in our own countries? This is something that must be abhorred completely. My current position is not a political position.
Yes, so
I mean, I'm a humanitarian.
But you're an African.
Yeah, I'm an African.
You have children.
That's why I'm concerned.
Yes.
I'm concerned.
And that's why it will end. You can't go further.
That further than
giving some specific actions that ought to be taken.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we continue discussing this, and we continue to condemn these practices.
Right.
And I'm sure our children, the younger generation, will take it up. It's not going to continue like this forever.
Yeah, we'll see the fruit.
Yes, that's right.
Even our grandchildren.
Yes.